Yeah, I'm definitely. I have to watch. It's just it's this odd mix of addiction and completionism. I mean, I've got my kid. I put Kittle in my daily this week. I paid up. I paid down for someone like the third wide receiver on New Orleans, who's like some guy who cost $3,500 to pay for Kittle because I didn't want to pay for. I was like, you know what? If we're gonna go, let's go. Like we're gonna go out doing whatever the fuck. Um,
Oh god.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, he's the only one that's gonna. I mean, nobody else is playing.
no,
So
and then I was looking and I was like, oh, I forgot Trent Williams isn't playing. And I was like, huh,
yeah,
maybe
no
it
one's.
was bad to put him in there. But I figured, you know what? If he ends up with like, 65 yards and a touchdown, whatever, fuck it. It's worth it. It's worth it to cheer him on. Jacob,
Yeah.
Jacob is here. What's up, Jacob?
Hello.
I think like your streak of consecutive weeks of being her first may be unmatched at this point, Jacob. I think you get a special treat for being first all of the times. Do we have a reason to watch this game? David was just
No.
saying he's not watching the game, but Jacob, I'm going to send you a little gift. I'm going to send you these guys right here. These are glasses from George Kittle's collection, brand new, launched via Zenni. So expect those bad boys in the mail. There's a pair of sunglasses. There's a pair of regular glasses in here. The cases are actually pretty dope. So these will come your way for being a loyal partaker in the weekly streams. So these were gifts from Zenni. If you don't wear them, I won't be offended. It's okay. But I'll DM you after the game or after the live stream, and we can get your address and send them your way. Just a little thank you for participating so many times. Hopefully they work out for you. And if they don't, well, that's okay. The cases are dope. David is also here. David, good morning. Jacob asked, is there a reason to watch this game? I think the short answer is no. Look, there's a couple intriguing storylines here. The Niners could play spoiler. They could finish with the best divisional record. Them and the Seahawks have a 3-2 divisional record, and the other teams are 2-3. Is DJ Reed going to have another fantastic game? Is CJ Beathard going to ride off into the sunset? It depends. Ultimately, where we've been pretty open about this. We would rather lose the game and help the draft position. But if we win, hey, I'm glad to shit on Seattle whenever possible. So it's ultimately a win-win. But pulled out all the stops. I got my Kittle jersey, and by jersey I mean my shirt that I ordered in like July, and I got it last month. I've got my full-on helmet koozie with the official beer of Texas. It's the last game. It's the Lone Star. Let's do this. Fuck it, man. It's week 17. We don't get another one of these for a while, so let's go, buddy.
There you go. I mean, you were way more amped about this game than I expected. Like,
I'm here for this.
Impressed. I'm not here for this.
Yeah, it's
there's I mean, it would be one thing. I think it would be fun. Like the whole spoiler thing and shitting on Seattle and all of that would be great if anyone were actually playing in this game.
Yeah, Trent Williams isn't playing. Brennan Ayuk isn't playing. At this point, we're going to see a lot of Kendrick Bourne dancing. We're going to see some Jeff Wilson. Jeff Wilson is like I think everyone's been pining for the Corey Sheets is our future candidate. It's Jeff Wilson. It's actually Jeff Wilson, undrafted free agent running back who makes it all the way to the starting lineup. So we're already getting draft questions. I'm not prepared for this. First round interior defensive line draft candidates. The Niners are going interior defensive line, David.
Kill me.
Which
would rather die than talk.
This was a perfect
even
question.
Entertain that idea right now.
This was a perfect question to begin the Q&A. It's amazing. Yes, there is still a chance we end up with the top 10 pick. That likelihood is low because of our strength of schedule. So if we end up in a glut of teams that have a bad record like 6-10, because of our strength of schedule being so high, we basically get kicked back to the bottom of that list. So there's a chance, but I don't know how high that's going to be. My cousin, actually, Fernando. What's up, cuz? Do we see Josh Rosen today?
Dear God, I hope so. That maybe now, if Josh Rosen goes in, I'm watching. I'm flipping the channel, red zone off, Josh Rosen on my screen now.
So that he can run the 6 plays that he probably knows.
And throw 5 interceptions. Yeah,
oh, man.
in a half. Like, let's do it.
I feel like Josh Rosen is he's on that Mike Glennon neck path where it's just an unusually long neck for the size of human that he is. I put him in that category. But look, if you're hoping for the Niners draft position, you want to see Josh Rosen.
Yes, let's do it. I'm here for that.
So let's talk about the bummy part, right? It bums me out that the Niners have no real shot to win and so many injuries. Seattle is one team I hate to lose to. I agree. There is not a lot to really pine for in this game other than, for it to end. So instead, I figured, you know what? Let's actually talk a little bit about some of our favorite things that we got to see and or experience this season. Let's think about some of the good things, good memories only. Let's hear about them. I want to hear yours, David. In the meantime, I want to hear everyone else's who are here in the comments. What are some of the fun things that you remember about this season? Because it's the last game. And while, yes, it sucks to be here, week 17 out of the playoffs, thinking about draft position and interior defensive linemen and how the Niners are going to trade up for a running back, it's gonna feel, it's still, I know. It's still, football is fun. So let's talk about it. Let's start with David first. Ayuk jumping over the Eagles defender and into the end zone. Goddamn right, that's a top memory.
I mean, that was great.
Yeah.
Look, Brandon Ayuk has been wonderful, that whole thing. I mean, Fred Warner is far and away the number one most enjoyable thing about this season. I feel like really has clearly established himself as one of the top inside linebackers in football. And it's just been, I think it's really fun watching him be so good and just consistent every single week. It's just I think that has been the single biggest thing this season that I'll look back on and remember that was the good thing that happened.
Yeah, I think for me it's just about any time Trent Williams completely pulverizes someone on tape. It's really fun because they sneak up on you. You're watching a run play, and all of a sudden you just see someone go right across the screen, and you're like, oh, that's Trent Williams throwing someone that also happens to be 290 pounds. This is a large man. It's pretty wild. But yeah, I think Trent Williams, being able to see him play and hit people as just violently as he does is a lot of fun, especially on the run. Pick the Pick says Jason Verrett making it back and having a good season. I really like this story too. I always hurt for the guy, much like his body hurts when he plays football. And I'm glad that he, even if it's just 1 year, honestly, if it weren't for Alex Smith, Jason Verrett is comeback player of the year easily. And I mean, Alex Smith being able to play football with one leg is one hell of a story. But Jason Verrett making it back and having the game that he had against DeAndre Hopkins, I think, was probably his best performance in terms of what he could do, to stop one of the premier receivers and to break up a pass in the end zone that you see, I think, Nook catch all of the time. It certainly doesn't mean that he's one of the best corners in the league, but he's back to being a viable starter. And that's not anything, that was the upside when the Niners signed him a couple years ago.
Yeah, dude, I mean, the fact that he's playing consistently at all, right? Just the fact that he's been able to stay on the field for a large portion of this season is a really huge win for him. And so then you add in the fact that he's actually mixing in really solid quality play within that. And again, he hasn't been great week in and week out or anything like that, but I think he really has improved over the course of the season and just has been and become a very quality, competent player at a very important position. So yeah, that story's been very good.
Yeah, and I think as Richard makes his exit, Richard Sherman makes his first name term, Richard, my buddy Richard, Uncle Dick, as he makes his exit stage right, I think Verrett is hopefully the player the Niners are going to sign and re-sign to a deal that is going to provide some value because they're going to need some value. They're going to need a corner at some point. and so I think Verrett is going to be one of those players that he is actually one of the things that I think turned out very, very well this year. Carl, one of the best things, Kittle getting back last week. Every time he gets the ball, he can create magic out of nothing. I don't have that belief with any other player. I agree. And the one thing I always see with him is you saw him catch that little out route last week, and he immediately cut it back in. As soon as he cut it back in, you knew someone was going to get bodied. You knew someone was going to get a face mask. Someone was going to get hit. He runs and he seeks out contact, and people are afraid of him, and it's really, really fun to watch. It's why I started him in daily fantasy this week, even though it was by all accounts, a stupid play. But I don't care.
Even though Josh Rosen's going to be thrown at 5 feet over his head by midway through the third quarter.
It's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. But I don't care. It's week 17. We're here to have some fun. I told you, helmet beer means fun. You can't not have fun and have a helmet beer, David. You can't not have fun.
Well, I don't have a fucking helmet beer.
Well,
all right.
We should correct this. We should.
Yeah.
So David also is pumped about Greenlaw and Warner potentially being the next Bowman and Willis. Greenlaw still has some growing to do. I think quite a bit of growing. I don't know that he's on that level yet. But I will say the one thing that surprises me about Dre Greenlaw that I did not expect based on him coming into the league was how fast he is. We didn't think he was that fast, I think because of how he tested.
He tested like super poorly.
He did.
Yeah.
He tested poorly, and I don't know if it was injury related or what, but he's fucking fast. And he has been running around a lot recently, and he had a very, very good game last week. And his coverage grade is a lot better this week too. We knew he made the splash plays last year at the one and kind of clinch at the inch, but he's been doing really well this year. And I think the Niners do have two really, really good linebackers.
Yeah, I think the thing with them that I like take away is that, again, you don't have to like spend top resources on linebackers, right? You get Greenlaw in the 5th, I believe, right? Fred Warner in the 3rd. And yeah, I think, obviously Warner is on a different level right now than Greenlaw is, but the fact that Greenlaw is a solid starter at all, I think, as a 5th round pick, and really somebody that didn't perform very well in college. Like, he didn't have some very great production at that level, that didn't test well. And I just remember being like pretty underwhelmed when they selected him. So like the fact that he's doing anything and is like still on the roster would be a win for him. And so, yeah, you add in, the fact that he is obviously much better than just a body on the field. It's certainly been nice to get that sort of production from these like mid to late round picks and not have to really go out and spend top dollar or top draft picks on that position.
In the kind of big picture, the eons of football time that is the 49ers franchise, obviously the Niners franchise is built on offense. It's built on the West Coast offense. But I think one of the sneaky kind of big picture things, really since George Seifert left and probably since Mooch left, is that this has really been a defensive team. The last two big runs for the Niners have been powered by the defense. And yeah, I think there was a bit of a flirtation with Colin Kaepernick being, an offensive juggernaut for a bit, but it really still was powered by the defense and by the linebackers specifically, because I don't know that we've had a single corner, like a shutdown corner that you can say, yes, this is a guy who's going to really shut everything down. Even Richard Sherman last year, it was a lot of people respecting the name and then him being able to do some good things. But I think that it's been the linebackers that's driven the defense the last couple runs to the Super Bowl for the 49ers. And, it's a bit of a linebacker factory that they're building their name on here. So it's across coaching staffs, it's across GMs, which is interesting. Speaking of really quickly, GMs, Trent Baalke, current interim GM of the Jaguars. Basically, whenever he's an interim GM, the head coach gets fired.
Whenever he's a GM of any kind.
It's hilarious. It's like, it just goes, it's like, gonna get you fired, basically, is his role. And he might get fired too, but if he stays, then, that's stupid.
Yeah, what's it been like? That's like four straight seasons that he's been involved in.
Four straight Baalke seasons, yeah. I only know two of the teams off the top of my head, the Jags and the Niners. What were the two teams in between there that he was a part of that got fired?
No, I think it's just because you had 3 straight coaches with the Niners and then this one. Yeah, I don't think there was anything in between there. You just had, the 3 consecutive firings that he was a part of in San Francisco on his way out, and then this one.
Good golly, Miss Molly. All right, so those were some good, fun, positive memories. I think we can end it with this. Carl figured out what went wrong this season. David, you cut your hair.
Man, yeah, that's true. That's
Uh,
true. When did I don't even oh God, I wish I remember when I cut my hair. Was
I
it
don't.
after the season started, right? I
I think it
think.
was. All I remember is getting a text message where you asked whether or not you should cut your hair, and I said, "Fucking YOLO! Like, let's go full on Philip Rivers. Just throw it up, chuck it up, hope good things happen. Just because, why
Yeah,
not? It grows back.
it's accurate.
All
Yeah.
right,
Um,
you got to grow your
I
hair out,
don't miss
David.
it. I don't miss it.
Them's
I'm
the
sorry.
rules.
Yep.
All right, let's get to some forward-looking season questions. I think Pick the Pick is asking what is on a lot of people's lips. Who's the best candidate to be the defensive coordinator next year? D'Amico Ryans? Question mark. Good question. I think we can probably start with the names that have been tied to Shanahan that run a similar scheme to the one Shanahan prefers. Gus Bradley being among them. Raheem Morris, I think, has been linked to Shanahan. And there's the what's the other cover three guy? It's Gus Bradley and he was fired as the defensive
Yeah.
coordinator.
Well, it was the Atlantic Dan Quinn.
There you go, Dan Quinn.
Yep.
Good old Baldy. That's another one as well. I think D'Amico Ryans, it would be interesting for him to go from position coach to defensive coordinator after, because I think this is only his second year. First year, he was a defensive quality control, which is basically like entry level. I think last year he was linebackers. And so I think it would be an interesting promotion to go to defensive coordinator. I don't know that he would necessarily be a great fit only because I do think that Shanahan likes being relatively hands off with the defense and let the defensive coordinator do the defensive coordinator thing by and large. And Shanahan's only going to stay kind of like moderately involved. I don't know that Ryans is necessarily going to have the experience to do that right away and be left alone. He could. I really don't know. I don't know much more about him other than he's a coach and he played in the NFL for a long time.
Right. Yeah. I think the thing with him is, obviously Shanahan and of course, like Saleh is going to have the best read on how ready he is to step into that role. I mean, I think that would be the ideal sort of scenario, though, is having somebody who is already very familiar with, what they've been doing. I don't think it would be necessarily in their best interest to go out and bring in a new guy that's going to bring a new system. So I think like that type of thing immediately strikes me as like heading in the wrong direction with them, because they have so many defensive pieces already in place that you want to ideally, and they've been successful in the system, right? So you want to keep them doing, I think, what's worked well for them. And this is kind of the model, that I think like obviously good teams have been able to follow. You think of like the Patriots, right? And it's always like their coordinators leave and they kind of promote from within. And so I think like that type of culture and that type of system, if you're able to develop it, would be very nice. And so I think like if you do believe that Ryans is ready to roll and like he's ready to step into that position, and that he knows the system very well and he can kind of just keep the status quo for that unit, I think that would be something that would be really appealing for them.
Yeah, the growing your own coaches and promoting from within. I mean, it's something that Bill Walsh did. It's what the dynasty was really built on. So I agree. I think if you do think D'Amico Ryans is going to be a defensive coordinator, and you think maybe this is a year early, would you be okay with giving him the promotion a year early, knowing he's going to grow into it? And I think at that point you kind of have to maybe hire because there's no limit to how many coaches you can hire. You can hire like an assistant head coach who has defensive coordinator experience to help him out. So it's not like he would ever need to do this alone. But yeah, I think if you think he's going to be a defensive coordinator, you go there. The other, I think you think of someone like Wade Phillips. That would be interesting. I don't know that I think that might be more pipe dreamy. And Vic Fangio he would need to be fired first. And if he is fired, I could see him coming back. But apparently, as far as Vic Fangio knows, he is being retained next year. But hey, so was Tom Herman.
How you feeling about that?
Oh, I fucking hate Tom Herman's offense. It's a piece of shit trash offense.
I mean, sure, that like getting rid of him, fine.
Yeah, Sarkisian. It's one of those things where it's like, it's the devil you don't know versus the devil you know. I don't know that his resume is appreciably better than Herman per se. But you know what? He took a good offense at Alabama and made it exceptional. As long as he can keep the kind of off-field stuff under control, which it seems like he can, then I think it's good. having an offensive head coach with an actual offense is a good thing, and apparently his staff is going to be top notch. So you know what? It's not my money. You pay Herman the 15 mil to GTFO. Let's roll something new. Hopefully, it doesn't continue to lose Texas recruits, because losing Quinn Ewers was a big kick in the dick. But Casey Thompson looks good. All right, I'm going to stop because this is not a Texas Q&A. All right, how much does a top tier nickel cornerback make on the open market? I have no idea what to even think K1 Williams might cost to keep around. This is a really good question. Really good question, because I think K1 Williams' cap number is about $3.5 million this year, which is like below market rate, I think, for a good nickel corner. I think a nickel corner in today's NFL plays about 75% of the snaps. And so you've got to kind of apportion it that way. It's not going to be as much as like a top tier corner, which is going to make, 13 to 17 million, depending on how good they are. But I think that for a good interior cornerback, I think if you're paying like 5 million or less and they're playing well, you're getting a fucking steal.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think that, and I feel like there's been a couple of them recently that have started to get a little bit, larger contracts than has been typical for that position. I think, some teams at least are becoming to realize, or starting to like realize the value of those more interior coverage defenders, because that's the area that so many offenses, want to throw the ball to often. So I do think that position, in a vacuum has more value than it did 10 years ago or something like that. But we certainly haven't seen the market fully catch up to it. And so I think overall slot corners are not terribly expensive, especially considering, what outside guys are getting paid. And so and with somebody like Williams as well, who I think, like we've talked about, I think really is more of a scheme fit than anything. Like I don't think is a guy that can just go to any team and slide right in and be just fine. I think he really does excel at the type of things the 49ers do frequently, the zone heavy type coverages, not asking him to really, play a lot of man coverage. He's obviously very good, I think, in run support, and which is going to be important for that position as well. So yeah, I think he fits well, and I don't think that it would take a whole hell of a lot to keep him around.
No, I mean, I think that, yeah, like you're probably looking at close to, $7 to maybe like once you start getting into like the $6-7 million, I think that's where you start getting into like the upper echelon of nickel corners. I don't think he will cost that much to retain. Yeah. So I think if the Niners can get him even at 5 million for 1 to 2 years, I think it's probably best. The only thing I can think is that they think they can save money by having someone like Emmanuel Moseley play nickel. And they've got maybe Verrett come back, Moseley play nickel, and then you move somewhere else. Or if the new defensive coordinator is going to play a bit more man-heavy scheme. But that should be figured out before free agency starts. Free agency starts in March. New coaches should be hired pretty quickly, hopefully, even before the Super Bowl, I would think. Because Saleh's not going to have any limits to interviews since the Niners aren't in the playoffs. And you've already got 3 or 4 teams with coaching vacancies. So...
Yeah, I mean, we could see, like, I would imagine by probably tomorrow, we'll hear an announcement for Saleh. And then things should hopefully, go fairly quickly from there.
So Jacob asked, which coaches do you think Saleh takes with him? Unfortunately, I think he does take Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur was the best man at Robert Saleh's wedding. And
seems likely that.
Yeah, they're lifelong friends. They've been friends for a while. I think they both played together, or were like college assistants on the same team or something. Either which way, he was the best man at his wedding. Kyle, there's a new rule in the NFL now that a head coach cannot prevent a coordinator from taking a new role. So before you couldn't prevent a coordinator to head coach, but you could prevent coordinator to coordinator. Now you can't even prevent coordinator to coordinator, but it would still be a promotion for Matt LaFleur because he would be calling plays.
Right.
And so that would still be a step up for him. That was the rationale for him not letting Matt go to coach with his brother, which is hilarious. But that was the logic. That was the rationale. And honestly, that's the only one that I can think of that would really hurt. I don't think he's taking Bobby Turner with him. That's the running backs coach. He could take an offensive line coach, whether it be John Benton or my cocaine snorting guy. I forget his name.
Oh God, yeah.
But they're both offensive line coaches. So if you take one or the other, then I think you still have the other. But the Trent Williams did say that he felt like, God, I'm blanking on his name, that he was really, really close with the, I don't want to keep calling him the cocaine snorting coach, but that's who he is. I'm going to go ahead and look up his name so I can assign him to something other than doing cocaine. But David, you were saying.
Yes, I was trying to look up as well. And to be honest, like I don't think that even losing like LaFleur is a big deal, right? I could see like maybe once you get into like the offensive line guys and stuff like that having
Chris
a
Forrester.
little bit more. There you go. Like that maybe having a little bit more of an impact, but even then, like this is the reason you hire Kyle Shanahan to begin with as your head coach, right? Is and we've talked about this a whole bunch, right? The consistency on the offensive side of the ball is there with him. As long as he's in place, you know, you can trust that things are going to be fine offensively, and he's going to be able to find replacement coaches. And this is just something that you're going to have to deal with when you have an offensive head coach who is good, right? Like other teams are going to want a piece of that. They're going to steal your offensive assistants, and that's going to be fine. Like because you have the head coach that is the one that kind of sets the table for everything on that side of the ball. So I don't think Saleh like bringing, you know, unless he just like he's not going to upend the entire staff, right, and just be like, hey, I'm taking the whole offensive staff. Like it's not going to be something drastic like that. So if he picks off one or two guys, then like whatever, it'll be fine. I think I would actually be more worried about the defensive coaches, right? Like I think those would have the bigger impact because if you keep a lot of the current staff in place, again, like going back to the point with Ryans, hopefully you can just kind of like plug in this new defensive coordinator. And yeah, he's going to have some new preferences as far as like play calling and what he wants to do in different situations or things like that. But if you can keep the structure there, the structure the same, that's going to be the most beneficial thing for that defense.
Yeah. I think the big thing that we all have to remember about Saleh going to get a new gig is that they would get 2 third-round picks out of it, which would be real nice. It'd be a third-round pick this year and a third-round pick next year.
Wait, what?
Oh, did you not know this?
No, I don't think I knew this.
Yeah, so this is a new rule that the NFL instituted for basically to benefit. It's kind of like the opposite of the Rooney Rule, where the Rooney Rule is like just interview them and you're fine. This is more like if you hire basically a person of color, then the team that groomed that person, the team they get hired from, gets picks.
What? Wow,
Yeah.
that's fucking awesome.
So it's a 2 third-round pick scenario. One this year, one next year. It would come after the compensatory picks. And if Adam Peters goes with him, which is a possibility because if he goes someplace with a GM opening like Jacksonville, then there would also be an additional third-round pick that would come from Adam Peters going as well. But a front office gig is not 2 picks. I think it's 1. I'll have to look up just to be sure. But yeah, the Niners could end up with like an additional 3 third-round picks as a result of both these.
Wait, so what's the Adam Peters? Because Adam Peters is just a white dude. What's that role?
Let me see. Let me look it up because Adam Peters would do some picks as well. So let's go ahead and we've got 3 minutes until kickoff. So while I look this up and see if I can find it in 3 minutes, let's go ahead and say, well, are you happy with Gould getting an ascension? David, discuss.
No. Why is this? Why is this where we're gonna stop? It's whatever. It's fucking stupid. Fucking kickers, man. Like, yeah, it's just it's a waste of money. I mean, is really what it comes down to, especially for a team that is going to be more up against the cap than they've been, you know, anytime since Kyle Shanahan has been the head coach and you know, they've been in with this regime. So, I mean, obviously you understand why they want to do it. I think it's like there's some comfort level as a head coach, knowing that you have like some sort of veteran kicker there that's proven reliable. But you know, we just don't as we've seen this season with Robbie Gould and the number of kicks that he's missed at times, like with kickers, shit just happens. And so it's, yeah, I think not surprising that they've decided to make that move considering the type of things that they've prioritized in the past, but not ideal.
Yeah, apparently Saleh, I didn't find anything about Peters, but I'll figure it out. But he has already got an interview with the Falcons set for Monday. Robert Saleh.
There you go.
And I think that does it. So we've got 2 minutes. David, any final season-ending thoughts as we, you know, get ready for kickoff here for the noon games, Week 17? on what feels like a lost season. But I want to keep you positive, David.
I mean, thank God it's over. That's
You
really
son of
where
a
we're
bitch.
at. That's where
You
we're
son of
at.
a
No,
bitch.
look, we'll have more. I think this week on the pod we're going to be doing more of a kind of season recap. We're not going to spend a ton of time talking about this game, and so I think we'll spend some time like looking back at some of the things that we thought during the season preview, and things about how we thought the season might go. Figure out where we were right, where we were wrong, and do some of that. That's always kind of fun this time of year. So. Yeah, I think that's what we're looking forward to. But as far as this specific season, yeah, like fuck it, all to hell. I'm glad it's over.
Yeah. So it's the last game. I too am similarly glad it's over. For lots of reasons, but I'm just happy that it's a bright, shiny day out in Austin, Texas. I've been marinating some chicken since last night. I've been charcoal grilling like a mofo. I got new grill gloves. They're burnt orange. They say "dad" on them. They're just fucking full on dad mode. I've got it's been a pleasure. I'm gonna have a lot of fun grilling outside, putting fire to meat. My daughter's in a matching Kittle onesie. I'm gonna watch. I'm
Okay.
just gonna look forward to every time Kittle tries to pulverize a defender. Let's fucking go. That's all.
There you go.
That's all. I'm a simple man. Simple pleasures. That's all. Grill
Just want
gloves.
some dad gloves to grill in.
Just want some dad
That's
gloves
it.
to grill. That's all I need. Thanks to all of you who have been tuning in to our pregame Q&As. We're probably going to keep the Q&As going as the season goes on, but we'll probably change the focus and maybe change the frequency a bit. But let us know if you guys have any ideas for some of the Patreon stuff too in the comments. Let us know thoughts, opinions, tots and tings, as they would say in Ireland, and we'll see what we can do about them. But thanks to everyone who tuned in. Here's to week 17, y'all. And as always, go Niners.